Hi, I'm Charlie, and I'm presenting with Chris. We're veteran members of uh Team 18438 Wolfpack Machina, and we both just graduated from first this year after I've done 6 years and Chris has done 7 years of first. So I think a good place to start when talking about our outreach is starting with our team's mission statement that we wrote 3 years ago when we started as an FTC team. Our mission is to build and expand a self-sustaining STEM ecosystem that focuses on providing robotics opportunities to everyone in our communities.
And so kind of how we got to this place, because that mission statement, though, was definitely our mission for our last year and first, it was not how we came into the competition. You know, when we were starting, we were just in the process of learning new skills, trying to figure out how to build robots and the basics of Java and all those simple things that, you know, just to be able to be competitive and have fun at tournaments. And kind of through that process, the thing that helped us most to be able to become competitive was the mentorship that we received from teams like Black Forest Robotics, who were based in Colorado, but in 2020 they really just they got on a Discord server with us and they would answer our questions anytime and helped us really kind of form our design philosophy and learn the basics of how to make a competitive robot and how to really attack a game. And I think that really showed to us just how important it is, mentorship and giving back your knowledge. And so from there, we started doing trying to bring that into our sort of immediate community, where we would run summer camps for FLL and FTC to try to keep the knowledge base in our community to make sure that our program itself at our school, because we are a school-based team, was sustainable. So for the past 3 years, we've ran 5 weeks of FTC summer camps and 2 weeks of FLL summer camps. So 7 weeks of summer camps total that are open to the public, but generally are mostly filled by kids funneling into our own programs. And then from there, we started to expand outside of our community a little bit to sort of broaden our impact. And that's how we got to our first outreach program.
So we started the Centerville program at a local elementary school our first year in FTC. So we've been running the program now for 3 years. And basically, what we did is we reached out to the local principal of the Centerville Elementary School, specifically because their school had the highest proportion of students on free or reduced lunch in our area. And one of the members of our team had actually gone to that school. So we reached out to this principal and we asked her if we could start a program there. And 3 years later, we've done 3 years of a 10-week curriculum at this school where we teach the basics of FLL to 18 students. And we try to make sure that everyone gets a lot of hands-on time with the robot. So we have a 2-to-1 student to robot ratio, and we make sure that any student at the school can participate, so it's completely free. And we work with the principal specifically to pick out students who wouldn't necessarily get the opportunity to do STEM programs otherwise without this program. This program has had a huge impact on, I think, both the students at the school, but also on our team, because it really showed us that the knowledge that we had gained in FLL, we could use so well by sharing it with the rest of our community around us. And we also could really make a huge impact just with the knowledge that we already had from doing FLL.
Yeah, and so, you know, moving off of that, Charlie has been taking up that program and he's run it for the past few years. And I, along with a lot of our team, have been fortunate enough to actually get to go there and work with the students. And it's so exciting just to see the passion for STEM that they all build up, just being able to see the robot drive in a straight line or go through a really simple maze, start to line follow. You know, we do like this sort of like sumo competition where these robots are in a ring and then they start pushing each other around, and the kids always love that. And that got me really excited to kind of see how we could build more programs elsewhere. And from there, I worked, with a lot of our team to start the Everett program, which we are working on expanding. Actually, I mean, I'm kind of out of the world of FTC, but the future members, or I guess the upcoming members of Wolfpack are working on expanding it. But so Everett is a town that's kind of a city outside of Boston that has that is very underserved and super diverse, which is a community that we're the communities we've been trying to reach out for, because as we started to do outreach sort of in our own bubble, we realized that we were doing something really important, but we weren't necessarily bringing STEM to people who didn't have access otherwise. And since that's kind of our main goal, we started trying to spread into communities that were looking for STEM but couldn't have it. And that's how I met Rupi Kaur, who's in the top left image on the screen. So she's the STEM director for Everett. And so we reached out to her through City Year, which is a international nonprofit that works in afternoon programming for 27 cities, I think, across the US and a few outside. And through the reference, we met Rupi Kaur, who is, as I said, the Everett STEM director. And she basically put us in contact with 5 elementary and middle schools throughout Everett. So it's every single middle school in the Everett school system. And we reached out to their teachers, and they all were super interested in starting STEM programs. And they had teachers lined up to potentially be coaches for teams, but they didn't have the resources. First of all, they didn't have the resources to be able to pay for the registration fees, for the fields, for the parts, for the robots. But they also didn't have, of course, like the knowledge base of knowing what to teach and how to teach it. And so the first thing we did is we reached out to one of our sponsor Patronics to raise the $4,000 necessary to start 5 teams. And then from there, we worked. We organized a session to have the teachers who are going to be the future coaches of the team come in and learn the basics of FLL. And so on one weekend, we had them come up to our school, and we taught them basics of code, how to build a robot, sort of the overall structure of the season, and how to, attack the project and other aspects of FLL. This is really important because these are a lot of things that we just kind of know because I guess I'm not sure if we mentioned this, but our team started as an FLL team before we transitioned into FTC. So we have a lot of experience there. But these sorts of things that kind of are obvious and natural to us, we know aren't for them. So it's not just enough to raise the money and donate the parts and start the teams, because then you're just going to probably end up with a lot of boxes on shelves and like loose Legos around the place because no one really knows what they're doing. It's important to make sure that you're getting the teachers and the mentors excited too. After we did that, we got to go actually to the schools and work with the kids and sort of help them through the season. And so we taught them, everything we could in the 6 sessions that we got to do with the teams. And by the end of the year, 3 of the 5 teams we started actually qualified for states, which is amazing. We did not qualify for states in our first year of FOL, so that's really an incredible accomplishment. And it just goes to show the sort of talent and the intelligence that's out there, that so many people have the same passion for robotics that we have, but they just don't have the access yet. So all in all, we've introduced 66 kids through the Ever program. We introduced 66 kids into first teams that are going to expand in the years to come. We're looking to make it a year-round program. And yeah, so we're really excited about that one.
So the next kind of major program that we worked on as a team was the Rwanda program. And this is kind of the culmination of all of our efforts in both Centerville and Everett. So in September of last year, we had this opportunity. One of our team members, Amelia, who actually just talked on the Women in STEM panel, was moving to Rwanda. And we immediately kind of, as a team, realized that we could pounce on this incredible opportunity to help do some good in a country that has no FLL at all at that point. So we had a goal of starting 10 teams in Rwanda. So we raised the money to get the kits and the registration fees, and Amelia flew over to Rwanda with a couple contacts at a couple schools and 10 kits and enough money to pay for registration for these teams. Um, and we almost immediately ran into a problem that we weren't expecting when we got there. And that problem was there was too many schools and too many people interested in doing first in Rwanda. There was so much excitement around uh, the Rwanda program, and there was so many schools that wanted to be part of it that we actually didn't have enough kits to be able to help out all these schools. And that's where Code Arena came in. Code Arena is the operational partner for a lot of Central Africa. And with their help, they actually gave us enough money to start 25 more teams. So in the end, we started 35 teams with over 350 kids on the team. Um, so that was really amazing. And while Amelia was working in person, starting all these teams, meeting with all of the school administrators, us back in Massachusetts were helping mentor the teams and write curricular materials and do some fundraising. And the culmination of the Rwanda program was in March, we held the inaugural first FLL Rwanda National Championship. This was an incredible event. There was just so much enthusiasm from all of the kids that participated. It was an absolutely incredible event with over 700 participants. And one of the amazing things about the championship is many of the people from the Board of Education and from UNESCO and other organizations in Rwanda actually came to the event and were so excited about it that Amelia kind of used it as a way to jumpstart our program to continue working on it into next year. And so this year, actually, many members who were on Wolfpack last year are actually going to Rwanda to continue expanding the program. And you may ask, how is it possible for you to start 35 teams when there's only like 11 of you on a team? And the way that this is possible is through our outreach partners, and none of what we would have done would have been possible without our outreach partners. A good example of this is two organizations that are on the screen right now, Stella and Teach Rwanda. And those two organizations are educational nonprofits that are already set up in Rwanda. And we were able to teach some of the staff at these different operational partners about FLL, how FLL works, and how to teach it to different teams. And what this allowed us to do was to create a knowledge base outside of our team that exists in Rwanda to make sure the programs are sustainable in the future and much, much larger than our team as a whole. Another great example is Creativity Lab. And Creativity Lab is a creative space in Kigali. And we were able to, they actually donated their space for us to be able to host workshops, to be able to teach mentor training sessions for all of these new mentors that we were training in Rwanda.
And yeah, so kind of again, bring it back, like why outreach? For us as a team, as Charlie's kind of talked about, in terms of like how we're progressing moving forwards as a team, with a lot of us still working in this world of outreach and spreading STEM, is that our philosophy of outreach and why we do it really has nothing to do with awards criteria. We really do outreach because we think we can make an impact. We believe we are making an impact, and we want to share the knowledge base that we've built up to as broad of a community as possible, because in a lot of ways, there's no difference between some of the most, like there really isn't that much difference between some of the most successful teams and some kids in Rwanda or Everett or Centerville who just haven't had the access yet, who could build up an amazing team and do incredible things if they're provided the opportunity. And I think for everyone here listening today and everyone who's been on a panel, they know just how big of an impact FIRST had on them. And to be able to provide that to someone else who could gain the same interest and the same passion for FIRST that's really important to us because it's first is really big when you're in high school and middle school and when you're competing, but it also gives you so many more avenues for the future for where you can go in terms of into the industry or college or those sorts of things. So it's really that's why it's really important to us that we do outreach, and why we love doing it. But also the other thing um, with our outreach is all these programs together seem kind of like really huge and like I don't know, how would you do that? How would you accomplish that? And the thing about it is when we started creating all of these programs, we had no idea necessarily at the start exactly what we were doing or what they were going to look like at the end. So in the last year between Centerville, Everett, and Rwanda, we introduced probably about 400 kids into First who weren't a part of First before then. Um, and that's huge. That's such a big number. And so in some ways we did that in 1 year, but really realistically looking at the full picture, we did that over the course of 6 years, as a team working together, building up our knowledge in FLL and then in FTC, starting to branch out into doing certain outreach programs. Because if we didn't do the summer camps first, we wouldn't have such clear curricular materials to fall back on when we were trying to expand out into Centerville. And then there we got better curricular materials to move into Everett and Rwanda and so on and so forth. And we worked on our fundraising. But for all these programs, we started without any money. We didn't have infinite funding that we could just pull from. We had to go out and entirely fundraise the budget for all of these programs, for travel, for parts, for registrations, for when you get into Rwanda, like to rent venues to host the championship, to get tables for the FLL mats to sit on. There seems like there's so many moving parts, but if you really work together as a team and you break down the problem, it's totally doable. And I think in our experience, and we believe that if you're really doing it and totally with that intent, the right intent of you're trying to create something impactful that will last, if you really think about what it takes to do that, you can do it. It takes, the passion, the dedication. You need to have the knowledge base. You need to have curriculum materials. You need to know how you're going to share it. You need to fundraise and you need to make connections. And that's why outreach partners are so important, those operational partners that we work with, because we can't be in all these places at one time. We are just 11 students. So, it's about training the next generation. It's about training the mentors that will continue to work with the next generation and trying to expand from there. Yeah.
One last thing I'd like to add is I think the key to having a successful outreach program is take the opportunities that are given to you. Like, for example, we had a kid who went to a local elementary school, and through him we were able to reach out to the principal and start the Centerville program. Chris knew someone who worked at City Year, and that's how we were able to start the Everett program. And we had one girl from our team with a lot of passion who was able to start almost the entire Rwanda program just because of the fact that we were seeing the opportunities that we had and taking them. And the last thing I'd like to say is that there are so many tech companies and companies that really do want to fund these types of programs, especially the programs for outreach. So we spent a lot of time reaching out to different companies, and whether they helped us either monetarily or a lot of times, as our outreach partners did, helping us by either donating spaces or donating their time to help us out. And that was all super duper important for us to be able to do outreach, because we are only a team of 11 people. And that's something that we're really proud of.
Yeah. And so just like, hopefully we really hope that people can look at what we've did and how we did it this year to take inspiration to continue to do outreach and spread First to communities that don't have it right now. And if this all seems daunting, kind of like a very like big thing, like how would you do that? I would imagine that for many of us, and I mean it did for me personally, like just looking at a robot and how would you build a robot felt like that at one time. So it's no different here. You can really figure out how to do outreach, how to create programs, and how to have an impact. It's one of the parts of First that I think makes it really special to me and Charlie and to the rest of our team. And yeah, Charlie, I don't know if there's anything else to throw in.
No.
I don't know if there's time or anything. We'd be happy to answer questions or whatnot as well.
Yeah, we can probably take, okay, okay, yeah, we can take one question from online and one question from in person before moving on to our next presenter.
I see a question about schools being a school team, and the advantages and disadvantages of being part of a school team. One of the big advantages I see of being part of a team that has a school is you do have a community of people that can help you in terms of sustainability. So one of the things that we really want to prioritize is the sustainability of our programs. And because we have a school team, we're able to run FLL workshops at our school, and we're able to have other FLL teams that feed into our FTC programs, and we're able to have a large sustainable program at our school that I think is difficult for some community teams often.
Yeah, I think being a school team is really, really helpful in that respect. And also just like really quickly, just like I just see these two things here. All of our team members participated in outreach this year. Everyone worked at like helped run competitions. Everyone went to Centerville. Most people went to Everett, and most people worked on some aspects of Rwanda, if that was fundraising or curricular materials. And strategies for fundraising, getting good sponsorships is kind of just, you got to reach out to a lot of places. You have to really make sure that your ideas are concrete. If you're trying to start a program and you don't have an exactly laid